Welcome to Visionary Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionary Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
Tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast, your SummerSlam 2024 recap with the first person in-person review from Jason Cornelius Bell on Raw. Bronson Reed makes his mark. The Wyatt Six make their in-ring debut. Brian Danielson takes on Jeff Jarrett, and we got count them up, 5 nights of the G1 to get through that, and a whole bunch more tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast. Tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast.
That's great. Nice recovery.
Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Mark. So welcome to the Band from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Fabian Priest. And out there in South City, St. Louis, Missouri, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
Pour a beef on me in the name of love. And on that lovely note, I'll ask the congregation to bow their heads as I read from the latest edition of the Band from Ringside podcast, volume 372, chapter 3, verse 14 in the Good Smarks fans. Hashtag boo the heels. It's all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat. The Holy Trinity of BFR. It's been an up and down week. Up for your boy going to Cleveland. Down because I had to move into a new apartment with my girlfriend and she's driving me fucking crazy, but I love her to death anyway. So we're going to roll the roller coaster with me. Kick it over to that west side on time.
And out there in Portland, Oregon, we have Three Beers. What's going on, Three Beers?
BFR West in the house.
Not much. I am packing as we speak for a weekend in Bend where the quality of life is high and the quality of the air is very low. Thanks to all the wildfires that are going to exist from now until we all die of thirst.
Well, damn. I thought I was having a rough day. Shit.
We're all having a rough day.
Keeping it real goes wrong.
We are, as you can probably tell, we are in 3 different spots tonight. It's been a while since we've done this, but as Jason told you, Jason is doing some moving today. He is manning the board. I am at home on my deck by myself. Zach is, as usual, on the left coast, and we got a shit ton of wrestling to get to. Jason, before we get into the SummerSlam results and everything, how was your trip to Cleveland, and how was the SummerSlam experience overall?
The trip was good. I had to take a Delta flight out of here to Atlanta. If you don't know, Atlanta is the hub of Delta, so I had to take St. Louis to Atlanta to Cleveland and then back the same way. So geographically, it was all kind of fucked up, but no problems there. My man Brett, shout out to my man Brett Jager. He hooked up the tickets, picked me up from the airport, gave me lodging, the whole 9 yards. That's my man, 50 grand. So he picked me up. We apparently drove through Mrs. Old neighborhood on the way back to his aunt and uncle's house. Kind of weird just because it was Mrs. Neighborhood, but don't think of anything too crazy. It wasn't flashy or anything. It just looks like middle suburbia at its best. The SummerSlam experience, I thought it was amazing. Shout out to Michael Wallace-Seals. We bumped into each other, met up, had a good time. Total fucking mark, by the way. For whatever reason I die, he can have my spot at any given point, and this podcast would not skip a beat. We met up, had some wings, had some drinks, and then entered into Cleveland Browns Stadium. I'm not going to say it was a sellout because not every seat was taken, but it was pretty close to capacity. If 57,000 is the number they came up with, I don't necessarily going to disagree with that. The funny part, on the way out, as we were leaving, we were waiting, trying to find a place to call an Uber, and we ended up going to a casino. On the way to said casino, I hear a bunch of people screaming, Kaiser, Kaiser, Kaiser. And I'm like, what the fuck is Kaiser Sose coming down? All of a sudden, I see on my left-hand side, Ludwig Kaiser on like a little scooter or whatever, just going down the street with the biggest fucking Cheshire cat grin on his face. I'm like, God damn, that's Ludwig Kaiser. So, I mean, from that, I think I'm pretty sure I saw Santos Escobar on the way out of the Cleveland airport. I'm assuming that he was on SmackDown Friday night, so he was probably on the way out while I was on the way in. One little mark moment. Overall, it was a really great time. I got the Grand Slam shit off of my chest so I could die peacefully in a wrestling vein, but no, it was an amazing time, man. It was probably top 5 all time of wrestling experience.
Can I just say, as your longtime friend and podcast host, and knowing Michael Wallace Seals, who is very active on Friends of BFR on Facebook, and he and I have become friends on Facebook. Never met him in person. It warmed my freaking heart to see a picture of you two together at a bar. Let me also say that we went through an entire podcast last week talking about SummerSlam, and never once did you mention that you were going. I think that you mentioned you were going like 3 months ago, but never did you say you were going. You are a man of mystery, Jason Cornelius. You play shit close to the vest.
In this scenario,
we do a wrestling podcast together.
In this scenario, I was waiting for you to give me the opening, because you usually say after predictions where you're going to watch, where you're going to watch, where you're going to watch, and that's when I was going to say, hey, guess what I'm doing on Saturday. But the debacle with AEW Dynasty, when I thought this was a layup, and all of a sudden got rejected like LeBron smacking back I think that was Iguodala in the Game 7 NBA Finals. I kept this one pretty close to the vest until I was literally right there in the stadium talking to Michael Wallace, well, beforehand, talking to Michael Wallace Seals, hanging with Brett, seeing Dave LaGreca from Busted Open Radios. That's when it was starting to kick in that, okay, this is a big fucking deal. So yeah, this one I wanted to keep close to the vest.
So you didn't want to jinx it, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
It's not because you didn't feel like you didn't think that you were going to be rubbing it in me and Zach's faces, so you kept it quiet or anything. No. You just didn't want to jinx it. I hear you.
That's
all good.
No, it's totally a jinx.
Zach, did you have the same feeling that I did when you found out that Jason was at SummerSlam?
I was blown away. I am also like really the only thing I miss about social media is Friends of BFR and keeping up with the beefers. Like Micah, but I really was surprised. I don't remember you even mentioning it on the podcast before, so you might have mentioned it to Bill, but like I'm just like talking about SummerSlam once like the spoiler alert timeline had kind of like moved on, and we're past like spoilers in the text thread, and you're like, oh yeah, the pop for Roman was huge in the building, and I'm like, what?
so fucking funny. So I mean, I guess that's as good segue as any to get into that 3 count. 1, 2, 3. Our man on the scene, JCB, kick it off.
Obviously, we're going to talk about SummerSlam 2024 from Cleveland Brown Stadium. As a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, the fact that I haven't seen Three Rivers / Hines, and I've seen Cleveland Brown Stadium before that, kind of bothered me a little bit, but neither here nor there. Nice capacity crowd. We're going to kick this joker off at the top of the card for the WWE Women's Championship. Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. Obviously, huge storylines coming into this. Dom, Liv, Rhea, all in a love triangles of sorts. As much as this was predictable, I will give and a lot of the matches were predictable as such. I will still give Triple H credit for the majority of the card. There's one match that kind of stuck out a little more than others, but we'll talk about that in a second. I thought this was done very, very well, especially when you had Dom grab the chair and tell Rhea you can't win the title this way, but ultimately backstab Rhea to help Liv out, and then post-match, obviously, the kiss scene around the world definitely got a huge pop from the live crowd. I can't speak for how you guys reacted. I thought this was a solid match. I thought Liv played the underdog role as much as she should have in this scenario, because obviously people wanted to see Rhea Ripley get her pound of flesh, so to speak. I thought the finish was well executed. I thought Dom played the role just well enough to where maybe he was staying with Rhea, but ultimately he did flip on Judgment Day. That will be a recurring theme throughout the night, but we'll talk about that obviously in a little bit. I thought this was a solid match. The right person went over, and I thought the execution of the swerve was done very well.
Zach, what'd you think?
Yeah, total spectacle. Just it was time for kind of all of this to happen, and people were very invested in this. Like sitting at home, like myself, and in the building, you could tell. Even sitting at home, you could tell people were very invested in this. But yeah, storyline came to a climax very well, and they did everything real good. I think Liv did a great job selling Rhea as a monster. It was interesting. Like, I enjoyed the kind of kayfabe shoulder injury. It made sense because she had been out with a shoulder injury. So them doing like, you know, Rhea kind of like popping her shoulder like back into place.
Oh yeah, the crowd was like, "Oh!" I'm like, "Damn, that looked like that hurt."
Yeah, it was funny though. This was like the first of 5 shoulder injuries on the show. That was like really. I was like, "Oh, this is a story we're going to see in every match." But it was real good, and then the turn was really good. I saw a lot of people online joking that Dom's the only heel who can turn heel. Which is really funny. And Liv,
that's really good.
It really is. And Liv, you know, I thought she sold well for Rhea, but you saw that kiss, like, I mean, she sold that thing too. Like, there was like real deal tongue in there. She dropped the belt so that she could grab onto him and start making out harder and earning that paycheck.
Yeah, this was well done. Some real sports entertainment nonsense. A spectacle, like Zach would say, but I mean, in all the best ways. I mean, everybody likes a nice love triangle in wrestling. If I had to nitpick, I would say, why wasn't Dom's turn just a little bit more defined? Because like he did a couple things during the match, and it's like, well, if he's flipping, just flip. But you know, if I'm suspending disbelief enough to watch pro wrestling, I'm not going to bitch about that. Yeah, man. Dom, I mean, calling him the only heel that can flip heel is really funny. The look on his face before and after the look on his face before and after the kiss is just, I mean,
that's good heel shit.
You know, it's meme worthy.
I don't want to be hyperbolic, but that's kind of legendary shit. Like, they can show that in his highlight reel forever. He's still a young guy, and he is doing top of the card, just absolutely 100% pro stuff. Rhea was great, very sympathetic babyface. She is coming out of this a fucking monster babyface, and she was a monster babyface before. It took them a while to pull the trigger, but pull the trigger they did, and they pulled it at the second biggest show of the year. So kudos to them. This was great.
Next up, you had Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. Obviously, Braun Breaker losing round 1 of this, the feud, so to speak. Round 2 happening on the Saturday night. I thought this was a little short. I was expecting a little more. Like we said on the predictions, I'll speak for myself. It just felt like Braun had to win it. I just thought this match would go a little longer, but I thought this was still solid nonetheless. I mean, back-to-back title matches are not necessarily a common thing when it comes to WWE, especially in this scenario. And I thought these 2 matches got the card off on the right foot. Braun Breaker winning, not a huge surprise, especially in the dog pound. The dog pound, I guess we would be the fans as the dog pound in this scenario. Definitely behind Braun Breaker to the point where I thought they were even turning on Sami a little bit at points, but neither here nor there. Once again, right person went over. I'm looking forward for a nice little Braun Breaker run with the IC title. Not maybe as long as Gunther, but a nice little stretch. He should hold it the rest of the year. For Sami, like I said, this feels like a move up to the card to ultimately wrestle Gunther at some point. We did see the tease on Raw on Monday nights where Jey Uso came up and said they owe the Judgment Day, you know, stripping them of the tag team title. So that's something else too. But neither here nor there. Solid match. I just wish this would have went a little longer, especially on a major show. But Braun Breaker winning is the right move. He is the truth, and I cannot wait for him to dominate the mid card for the rest of the calendar year.
Yeah,
this is just the match I thought was going to happen the first time. So not too surprising here. It is kind of a shame that Rick Steiner's such a piece of shit. They could have had like a real deal kind of WWE highlight reel moment with Rick and Scott, sitting in the front row and winning the title and all that. That would have been pretty cool. But apparently they were there, but just not on camera. They were in a suite or something. But anyway, like I said, thought this was the match. I thought this is what was going to happen at Money in the Bank. So, yeah.
Couple things here. I was at a church picnic in Zach's hometown or very nearby. This will make sense only to people from Calhoun, but the ferry was on the high dock. So, which takes a little bit longer. And if you miss the ferry, it's like a lot longer wait. And we were getting home. We left around 9:30, I guess. And I was like, I got to get fucking home. I got to watch SummerSlam. I don't want to be fucking up all night. And the ferry had just taken off. So we were sitting there for like 40 minutes and we were like, oh, the kid's going to fall asleep. The kid did not fall asleep. But anyway, when I get home and I turn it on, SummerSlam must have been over for an hour and a half, and it was but it was still the live feed on Peacock. Like, it didn't let me choose the replay, and it was Braun Breaker sitting there with the belt. So this is the one match that got spoiled. I skipped it the first time through that I watched it because I was starting it so late, and I was like, well, I already know the ending. I'll say this about Triple H, is that he never swerves just to swerve. Like, after WrestleMania, we were fancy booking it, and we were like, at SummerSlam, Gunther should win the big belt, and Braun Breaker should have the IC. And we were like, oh yeah, that'd be badass if they gave Braun Breaker the IC. He's just booking it the way that it should be booked. Like, this is the perfect spot. They did Sami Zayn just fine because he got the clean win in the last one, but they gave Braun a dominant one this time. Totally cool with everything that happened. Good match. Good on Sammy putting Braun over strong, and Braun is on his way to becoming a made man. Dude is over, and I can't wait to see what's next for this IC title reign.
Yeah, over like Rover, like a motherfucker. Shit. Next up, interested to hear your guys' take on this because I know mine. LA Knight versus Logan Paul for the U.S. Heavyweight Championship. Logan Paul returning home to Cleveland was a question mark coming in. Then obviously he made some remarks on social media that could be swayed either way depending on how you look at it. You could be agreeing with him, you could be disagreeing with him. Either way, the timing, at least in my opinion, was probably poor. I don't have no problem with him speaking his mind. By all means, knock yourself out. I just think that it was probably not the best time or place for him to speak his piece, but neither here nor there. I thought this was another solid match. Once again, I think LA Knight stepped up to the plate, and I wouldn't even want to say stepped up to the plate. To me, LA Knight and Logan Paul are not on par wrestling wise. Obviously, Logan Paul is the least experienced, but probably a little more athletic versus LA Knight / Eli Drake, who's got all the experience in the world, but still can hang with pretty much anyone on the WWE roster. And I thought this came to play in this match. This was a nice back and forth. Obviously, you had some fuckery with Logan Paul involved, and LA Knight can dodge around that. But I thought LA Knight, this could arguably been one of his best WWE roster matches that he's had so far in this. And obviously, him getting the dub is probably the most important thing, his first major singles title in WWE. And like I said, the fact that Logan Paul perhaps shot himself in the foot by making some remarks about the Olympic boxer didn't necessarily help him. I will say this about Logan Paul, but then I'll let you guys take it. I'm not mad that he lost the title. I don't necessarily think that what he said made him lose the title. I just wish he would have wrestled a couple of more title defenses just to make him feel like a more of a quote-unquote full-time champion. Part-time champions don't bother me. Hell, I love Roman Reigns, but Logan Paul's title reign feels a little empty. That's just me.
He never really needed that belt, though. It was kind of just a prop. If anything, like, he might have even elevated it a little bit. Yeah, like, his tweet, I mean, besides just being, like, obnoxious, it was about something that wasn't even the truth, which is really frustrating. But it just reminds me of one of my favorite wrestling tweets of all time from a guy who we don't really see anymore named Killian Dane. And it was just the tweet that he put out there was just, some wrestlers are just fucking stupid. I don't know what to tell you. And like, that just pretty much like sums up that. But yeah, this match was fine, albeit a little bit predictable. We had some celebrity stuff, interference, like pretty typical. We could have booked this thing. I never would have guessed like NDK was going to be there. I don't really give a shit about him one way or the other, but it's fine. It's a big show to get some eyeballs. Cool. But I mean, pretty much up and down the card, this match or this card is pretty predictable. But like we said before, that doesn't mean bad. So yeah, this was totally fine. LA Knight gets kind of his just desserts. He's really something. Like, he's a star in WWE, and I don't like the you deserve it stuff, but it's well deserved.
Yeah, I like the AJ LA Knight match at WrestleMania more, but this was a really good showing. LA Knight, it's actually his second major WWE championship. Don't forget, he had the $1 million belt for a while in NXT. But he is, I look forward to seeing his title reign because he's going to be a lot of fun with that belt. So he's going to be a lot of fun as a fighting champion, hopefully, and taking on all comers, which would fit his character. So yeah, this was fine.
Better than what I expected, because y'all motherfuckers just run down LA Knight whenever possible, but I'll take that for what it is. Next up, you had...
Listen, it was a big show. It was a big show, and the crowd was good, which makes okay stuff pretty good.
Wow. Okay, never mind. There's the LA Knight shrapnel I was waiting for. Good job, Bill. Next up, you had Nia Jax versus Bayley for the WWE Women's Championship, or Women's Championship, whatever you want to call it. This just... at least for me, this shows how much or how little interest I had in this match. This was ultimately my merch match, so at this point I ran and got my merch and came back. I did rewatch this match. This was probably the low point of the night for me, and it's no disrespect to Nia and Bayley. I just think Bayley did not get any sort of build as champion. It felt like her crowning, and I was thinking about this today, her crowning achievement was WrestleMania. And then from that point, I don't think there was much of a plan for her, or if there was the plan, this was the plan to set her up for Nia Jax to take her out and ultimately win the title. From that point, you can have Tiffany Stratton, obviously on deck at any given point. I'm not sure if that's going to be more intriguing to fans to have her flip on Nia versus flipping on Bayley. Time will tell. Like I said, with all the other good matches around, this was about average to maybe below average, depending on how you looked at it.
How'd you look at it, Zach?
Yeah, it was tough. The crowd didn't really get into it until there was that power bomb spot where Bayley carried her from the corner and power bombed her in the middle of the ring, and then pretty much from there it was good. But yeah, Nia was a monster, and yeah, Bayley sold well for her. I do like the tease of Tiffany Stratton coming in. I did not expect that to be a successful cash-in at all, because really the kind of point of Nia's title reign is not necessarily Nia. It is that tease, and they're going to draw that out for a while. And in that post-show that Bill was talking about, I'm a glutton, and I just watch all of it. Nia and her had really good chemistry. Kind of reminded me of Nia and Alexa's chemistry, really. Somebody else who we could probably expect back at some point.
She had a kid, right?
She did, yes. Like Jason said, this served its purpose, and it's going to go in a fun direction.
Waiting patiently for Tiffany Stratton to cash in. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, the crowd wasn't really into this one, which is expected with Nia Jax. Nia Jax, the crowd's not going to fucking lose their shit for a Nia Jax match. Rhea Ripley had trouble getting her over. Rhea Ripley had trouble getting her over in Perth. So it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, it was fine. I picked Bailey. I like right when the match started, I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? But yeah, this was the least interesting match on the card.
Lack of build, at least for my opinion, but neither here nor there. What I would consider being
a lot of stories hit kind of a crescendo on this night, and the Judgment Day broke up. You had LA Knight winning his first one. You had Braun Breaker. Well, you know what I mean. That iteration of the Judgment Day. You had the Drew and Punks finally hit their first match. You had Roman Reigns coming back. Like Triple H, I know that I sound just like I'm just licking boots here, but like this is kind of the way like Vince would swerve just to swerve, or we just throw shit on, or you go with the worst shit. Like the night after WrestleMania built to a crescendo to last week. It's like that. So this match kind of stands out as it's just an okay one.
Good point. Didn't even think of it that way. Speaking of a crescendo, next up you had Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk with special guest referee Seth Rollins in the middle. I did not get a chance to rewatch this match, but I did see clips of Seth Rollins talking smack to both guys as they were in the middle of the ring getting their ass handed to him. I love the fact that Seth played the ultimate troll, but obviously towards the end, his motives could be questioned. I'll let you decide how you want to tell the story. Obviously, the match turns when the bracelet from AJ and Larry gets out in the open. CM Punk loses, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? His sight, his purpose. Instead of wanting to beat down Drew McIntyre, he's now focused. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. His focus, instead of going after Drew, is now to get back his prized possession. And obviously that cost him the match long term. I thought this was a solid match. Even once again, like Bill always says, predictable isn't always bad. You kind of knew where we were going. It's just how do we get there? And obviously with the tension between Drew and Seth and CM Punk, it all played into a nice little gumbo with Drew McIntyre finally getting his long-awaited W over CM Punk. Not a problem with this. I thought this was the way it should have been. As much as I like Punk and Drew together, I'm not saying it's over yet. I think they got a round 2 coming up, probably going over to Berlin, but that's we'll figure that out in a little bit. I still say Seth, despite what happened on Monday Night Raw, Seth somewhere down the line is going to flip on CM Punk as well and turn heel. Obviously, we're going to have to wait on that because Bronson Reed is still tsunamiing him as we speak, but neither here nor there. I'll let you guys talk about the match.
Zach. Yeah, the match itself was fine. One thing that I do find interesting is this was like probably the most looked forward to match when it started, and then it just got kind of less interesting as it went on because it kind of just became less about Drew and Seth and more, it became less about Drew and Punk and more about Punk and Seth. And Punk was okay. He seemed to be wrestling pretty carefully, which makes sense given his recent history with injury. But I mean, it was a totally fine match. He did kind of look like a dunce with like the bracelet thing. And I get like the emotions running high and stuff like that. But even like Big E was like roasting him on the after. So he's like, brother, that is not your wife and dog. It's just a bracelet.
Wow.
Did he really say that?
Yeah, and like Paul Peter Rosenberg was like, are you going to tell that to his face? He's like, I'll tell him to his face. He's like, he's my friend.
I mean, Punk's... listen, this match had a very high floor, and it had a really high ceiling on how good it can be. This was probably the floor, which is to say it was really good. It was exactly what I expected. They didn't exceed my expectations with what was going to happen. what I really didn't expect was CM Punk like turning into fucking Gollum when he sees that bracelet. Like, come on, dude. Like, what the fuck do you fucking care so much? And my wife was still up for this match. She went to bed for the last two matches, but she was still up. And I was and she had been drinking. And I was trying to explain to her about the bracelet. She's like, why the fuck does he care so much? And I was telling her, I was like, way too much of this shit revolves around the bracelet. And it's just like, listen, if you guys want to, you can have a bracelet with my wife and my dog's name on it, and I don't give a fuck what you do with it. You can do some Stanley Cup like 2 nights after somebody wins this shit with it. Like, I don't care. Like, that's your fucking business, guys. Do whatever you want to with it.
If we had merch, we would sell Aaron and Ruby beaded bracelets with the FPL colors on them.
but I'm explaining all this to her, and then Seth Rollins turns around and he's wearing the bracelet, and I had just gotten high, and I thought I was losing my mind with how fucking ridiculous it was that Seth Rollins just put it on. And CM Punk got so mad at him just putting on the bracelet. It's like, dude, I thought you hate McIntyre this much. He looks like such a fucking idiot. That being said, very, very fun. Exactly like I said, had a high floor. This didn't go below my lowest expectations, and my expectations were pretty fucking high. So this was perfect, you know.
Up to this point, my favorite match of the night, I was wearing my Drew McIntyre WrestleMania shirt as he's kneeling over the grave of CM Punk, and that drew a lot of attention from the section around me and around Brett and I. And we definitely let them know how the ending came out. I was almost a little worried for our lives for about 5 or 10 minutes, but obviously we made it out in one piece. So getting to troll the Cleveland Brown fans, or at least in this case, CM Punk fans, definitely worth the flight itself. Next up, you had Gunther versus Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. Big meaty men slapping meat, and that's what I was waiting for to come into this match with. That's what at least was in my head thinking about it, especially with their go home show performance, at least out of the ring when they fought outside of the ring up to the back. And I kept thinking to myself, you know, Damian Priest can hang with Gunther. It kind of makes sense that, you know, you could just let these guys just take some swings at each other once the bell rings, and let's see how this plays shit out. I would have never have thought in my wildest years, as watching as much wrestling that I've watched, if Moxley is such a slam dunk bleeding, I would think the opponent of Gunther would be the person that would get his chest busted open by a forehand chops and such, but not the case. Seeing Gunther bleed got an audible kind of gasp from the crowd itself, and when you saw Gunther kind of playing with his chest or whatever, seeing that he was busted open, that itself I thought gave this match its own another level of drama, because it was, to me, it felt like the Ivan Drago scene from Rocky IV, where Rocky finally busts him open, and the corner is like, you see, he's not a machine, he's a man. And then from that point, it felt like Damian Priest might have had a chance to win the match. And now you have this back and forth going on. Obviously, Finn Balor being at ringside didn't ring that much of a bell for me. Maybe not, but once he got involved, then you knew where this was kind of going to go. I'm glad that they didn't have Damian Priest eat the pin. Going night-night, ain't nothing wrong with that. It's Gunther. Gunther puts a lot of motherfuckers to sleep. You can just be one on the list, but once again, execution was good. Flipping, I guess, once again, Finn Balor being heel, flipping heel on Damian Priest makes all the sense in the world. He said it on Raw post SummerSlam. You know, you changed when you became world champion, and if you want to look at it, Finn's got a point. Motherfucker did change. Didn't take away from the match. I thought this was my match of the night. Rewatching it again the second time around, all kinds of props for Damian Priest. I think Bill said it last week. The title didn't make... He didn't make the title made him, and now he's going to be another big, huge baby face moving forward.
I don't think I said that. That was probably Brett, but it makes sense. Zach, what did you think?
Yeah, this is definitely the match of the night. Really enjoyable, and Priest can go. I really enjoyed his title reign, and I think he really stepped up to it. He's a top guy now, and he showed that on Raw too. He's going to be just fine without that title. And Gunther is the man. Like, Gunther has always been the man. He always will be the man. Eventually, he will not need that title either. But he is the absolute quintessential, perfect example of just a dominant champion. Like, you look at that guy and you're just like, I don't know who could take the title off this man. It's like in a kayfabe sense, and he's always been presented like that. And they've done a fantastic job with him. And coming in, you're just like, Walter is a no-brainer, brother. Like, this is exactly how he should have been presented the whole time. And it's just such a breath of fresh air that it was a can't miss, and they didn't miss, because there's been a lot of can't misses that they've really missed on. And man, Gunther is just the coolest.
In fairness, it kind of has been how he's been presented the entire time. He's just kind of leveled up on the belt that he holds. I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot of losses.
No, that's what I mean. Like, it's been fantastic the whole time.
Yeah, the whole time. I was a little surprised coming, reading about this shit the next day that people actually weren't higher on this. This was my favorite Damian Priest match of all time. This was the best match on the card. I liked it better than Sammy Gunther. This is my WWE match of the year and one of my favorite matches of the year.
Damn. Okay.
Even with the interference at the end, because the interference at the end was such a perfectly timed pro wrestling angle, and I don't mind Gunther's first win to win the belt being somewhat tainted. I know that people were a little down on that, like the story is Finn and Damian and not Gunther, but Gunther is going to be fucking fine. Damian Priest leaves his title reign as a bigger deal and looking a lot better than he was coming into it, which is exactly what you want to do. This match fucking ruled, man. These guys were hitting each other so fucking hard. I say this as a guy who's taken chops from pro wrestlers. I would not take those chops. I would not take those chops. There was a point in the middle of it where they said to each other, bust me open the hard way, like get me the hard way. That Gunther said that to Damian Priest. And then Gunther came back and was just, it wasn't even like, they were like chops, but they were like fucking straight up punches to his chest. It was a fucking fantastic match. Gunther is fucking everything. And
I would love for one of those keyboard warriors who said that his win was tainted to tell him he's not a real champion to his face.
Shit.
Yeah, listen, Gunther is a real champion. They booked this perfectly. They booked Damian Priest. Like we've said, there were a couple bad luck spots on his road as champion, but he was a fighting champion. He won some big matches. He proved that he deserved to be there, and he's probably better as a babyface. He's going to get over huge. This Judgment Day.
He's a great babyface.
Yeah, this Judgment Day breakup angle that's going to go over the next few months is going to be really good. I even like the JD McDonough promo on Monday Night Raw. Like,
that
it was
fucking came high.
Awesome.
That was a great promo.
Yeah, it was really good. So, like, these guys are motivated and they're at the top of the card. Both of them. Can't say enough about both of them. It was fucking perfect. I fucking loved it.
Okay, WWE match.
I mean, did you guys like that better than Sammy Gunther?
I don't know, maybe about the same.
I
might have preferred Sammy Gunther, but
I was going to say I kind of lean Priest Gunther, but the fact that I'm hemming and hawing is not necessarily the best sign. So let's just call it for what it is. But I don't know.
My wife had just gone to bed. I was in like the perfect state of mind too. I was like, just fucking sitting here by myself, fucking stoned out of my mind, watching Gunther and Priest, and then the main event, and not knowing what was going to happen. It was just like, the next 45 minutes are going to be great.
See,
that might have added to it, is what I'm saying.
No, look, I'm not going to sit here and say that you're wrong on WWE Match of the Year. It definitely stands out for multiple reasons, but the main reason was, to me, the in-ring action carried a suspect build. It got better as we got closer to SummerSlam, but it wasn't necessarily great to begin with. There was not a lot of time invested. I thought the match carried that build to where now I look back on it and I was like, shit, that motherfucker there, that was a headbanger boogie. So, you know, like you said, credit to both guys. Ultimately, like I said, to me, it was long overdue that Gunther was going to be champion. And then obviously with Randy Orton coming out on Monday night was once again another stroke of Triple H genius. Once at least I forgot totally about Randy Orton and Gunther having to run it back after King of the Ring. And the next thing you know, when he comes out, I was like, Triple H, you're on your game. So, I mean, it all made sense. It's perfect.
What was next?
Main event time, Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa for the WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship. Bloodline rules in effect. I don't know. I guess I'm just going to say it. I was kind of disappointed in this match, even with Bloodline rules, outside of Roman. Roman, at least for me, kind of saved the match where I thought it was starting to maybe drag a little bit. It's okay for me where if Roman wants to do this, Solo doing the same thing Roman does doesn't necessarily thrill me that much. We've seen this movie before.
Ding, 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 ding.
If you're going to have some fuckery, I'd just rather it be original fuckery versus what we've seen before. You knew this was going to happen when, you know, Fatu and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, God bless that boy. It's just, I don't even know why they throw his ass out there half the time. Anyway, you knew when they were going to come out, you were going to get.
Hey, Tonga Loa hit all his spots.
All two of them?
I don't know, when he like speared Cody and tried to do it in the corner, he like did it against the ropes, which was pretty funny. But
yeah, I was going
he
to
wasn't
say
wearing an eye patch, so I'll give him a little benefit of the doubt.
No, I'm going to say a spear don't go into the ropes, brother. Okay, let's just call that for what it is. He fucked that one up too. Okay, neither here nor there. Like I said, for me, Roman coming out saved the match because it felt like the crowd was starting to lose interest, and then all of a sudden his new music hit.
Well, everybody was just waiting for Roman.
Or somebody. Everybody had, 15 different opinions. I saw guys that were coming off, different planes. They saw my shirt, I saw theirs, so we got into a SummerSlam, discussion. Roman, Jimmy,
bringing people together. That's pro wrestling, baby.
God bless them. Hikuleu, if you asked 15 people, 13 people would have named, a different. Everybody would have probably named somebody different. Roman is obviously.
Hikuleu would have been such a disappointment.
I'm kind of glad they didn't do it because upon the retrospect, that was the pop of the night, and it was such a ridiculous pop. It was just what? Yeah. I'm half in the bag at this point. So as his music is hitting, I'm like, that's not Roman Reigns' music. And I look it up, I see, on the Tron, it's like head of the table. I'm like, maybe that is Roman Reigns. So obviously Roman comes out and handles his business, gives Cody the nod, and disappears off into the sunset. That to me was the match right there. Everything that happened beforehand, we've seen it before. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I just wish the bloodline, at least for me, the bloodline fuckery is what it is. It's going to happen. I'm accepting of that. To me, what makes it House of Torture-ish is because we basically did the same thing that Roman Reigns' bloodline did. If you're going to be Bloodline 2.0, then be Bloodline 2.0. Change that shit up, man. Just throw some fucking fireballs around. Put some powder in the air. Throw us a spear. I don't know. Just do something different than that because we've seen that. That's been overdone.
Douse Jack Perry in gasoline and actually set him on fire. Do something different. Zach, what did you think about this match?
Yeah, like Jason said, I was unexpecting Roman to come back, but like Jason said, it's just more of the same. We've seen this match for the past 3 years only. Usually it's Roman Reigns. This match suffered because nobody thought Solo Sikoa was going to win, even with the bloodline rules. the match itself suffered. I thought it was hilarious that whenever the faces came in to, clean house and clear up the interference, like Kevin Owens, like they have to run like 200 yards and Kevin Owens is just chucking it, just running as fast as he can to make the save. And Randy's music hits and he's just like barely jogging. And like Roman's music hits and like, I'm just like, oh my God, how long is it going to take Roman to like get all the way down this massive entrance ramp? And he picked up the pace a little bit and he jogged out there. But man, Roman is such a star, and it is interesting. I like this dynamic just because Roman being back felt like it was the biggest moment of the show. And how does that play with Cody? Because like it was like the top guy, like, Roman put Cody over, and now Roman's back, and that feels like a bigger deal than anything Cody has going on right now. So, but because they're aligned, at least on the same side against Solo, it's almost like superpower situation. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, Jason said before all the bullshit, this match kind of dragged. Man, this shit slowed to a stop. Cody and Solo were not good together. And Solo wrestles a lot like Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns has charisma out his fucking ass. And Solo is just not Roman Reigns. So this was really boring before the fuckery. And then when the fuckery happened, it's like, oh, this is just a callback to the WrestleMania match. And I expected Roman to come out the entire time. When Roman came out, very satisfying. They didn't fuck around. They didn't swerve just to swerve. Roman came in, maybe the best Superman punch I've ever seen by him. And that's just because the crowd was going absolutely bananas. What's interesting to me is that Jacob Fatu does that splash from the turnbuckle to the announce table, immediately starts selling his foot, and then backs up against the wall and tells Solo to finish it. I was completely worked, and I joked around and I made funny about Joey O'Farrell in the group chat about him just being afraid to get worked because he was like, I think the injury was a work. But Meltzer has come out and said that the injury was a work because they want to write Fatu out of the match so him and Roman didn't have any contact. And that makes sense, and that to me is genius, because there might actually be more upside in Fatu and Roman, or at least just as much potential in a Fatu Roman feud as there is a Solo Roman feud. So if they did that, if that's all indeed true, that's so interesting to me, and the kind of thing that makes me like thinking about wrestling and talking about wrestling.
Roman Solo, Roman, or Roman Fatu. Which do we want to see more right now? Roman Solo, Roman Fatu. 3 beer.
Well, as far as in the ring, I'd rather see Roman Fatu. Solo's got to get his comeuppance, like storyline wise, though.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense for them to go to Solo Roman next. SummerSlam to WrestleMania, there's going to be lots of bloodline shit. So strap in, because we're ready for another chapter, and it looks like it's going to be a good one. And you still got The Rock coming back, and Sami Zayn doesn't have a belt anymore, and him and Jey Uso are palling around. So we're definitely doing what should be done and leading towards a bloodline civil war, and it's going to be a money match. Lots of storytelling. This was really cool. I liked Roman coming back. I liked them swerving, not just for the sake of swerving, but Cody Solo was boring as shit.
God damn. Okay.
I gotta call it like I see it. Like, we just came off of Gunther and Damian Priest, and then these guys are walking around doing fucking just standard lariats to each other and shit. It was just like, okay, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't care about the match. Like I said, it suffered. I none of the near falls never once did I think that they're going to put a belt on Solo Sikoa right now over Cody Rhodes. And Cody's just, his matches might suffer a little bit if he doesn't have that legitimate contender. And I know they tried because it was the Bloodline rules thing, but that doesn't help convince anybody either.
I heard that I heard that before the interference, this was like one of those tribute matches, and it was a tribute match that was Al Snow versus Val Venus from a Sunday Night Heat in 1999.
No. Stop. You ain't shit, nigga. Stop. You ain't shit, nigga. God damn. That's fucked up shit. Let's jump over to Raw real quick. Obviously, Gunther had his victory lap. Ludwig Kaiser, the aforementioned, giving him the introduction. I thought he was going to take the fall from Randy Orton, obviously not doing so, but he did stay out and take the fall to Sheamus. Sheamus going over Ludwig Kaiser. I thought that was a bit of a surprise. Any thoughts on Sheamus, Ludwig Kaiser?
They didn't show this. They showed basically no wrestling on the Hulu version because all the angles, like the coming off of SummerSlam, were long, like talking segments. So when I texted you guys, I'm like, there's no wrestling on this, but it's still an amazing Raw. But I guess there was wrestling. They just didn't put it on the short version too.
Oh damn!
Yeah. I just to go back to SummerSlam for a minute. Do you guys want to give it a grade?
B+.
I will say, I was going to say B+. That was my grade.
Yeah, I give it an A-, maybe an A. This is exactly what I think that SummerSlam should be. And I should also say that we did do predictions on SmackDown. We included predictions on SmackDown, and your boy, because of the rule we have, not who's going to win the match, but if they hold the belt, who walks out with the belt, got both the Bloodline and the Unholy Union wrong. I also picked Bayley, and you guys picked Nia Jax. So, fellas, the three of us on August the 8th of 2024 are all tied with 139 points apiece.
Who went undefeated this week? Yeah, right.
But no, I don't have much to say about Sheamus Gunther or Sheamus Kaiser.
Did you say somebody went undefeated in the predictions, or no? Did I miss that?
I think both of you guys did.
Okay, never mind. Wyatt family with another short vignette. Damian Priest comes out to call out Finn Balor. Love the fact Finn throwing his ass from afar. Just basically, watch your back. I'm going to catch you when you least expect it. Bronson Reed gets disrespected again backstage by Adam Pearce and then comes out. And like I said, it's probably still tsunamiing Seth Rollins as we speak. I guess that would be the detour for Seth Rollins until we get him back towards CM Punk in a little bit. Final Testament with another boring ass segment. Maxine and Ivy Nile backstage. I'm waiting for them to actually have some sort of beef going on. Ivy Nile hasn't joined American Made yet, but she obviously has ties to them. I love the American Made name, by the way. I think that's fucking amazing. We did talk about Bronson Reed.
That's really good. Really good.
Bronson Reed jumps Drew McIntyre, but not Drew McIntyre, jumps Seth Rollins, but beforehand, Punk looking for Drew McIntyre gets Seth Rollins, who wants a pound of flesh from CM Punk. So I guess here's the question. We can stop here for 30 seconds. When do we see CM Punk versus Seth Rollins?
Maybe even Survivor Series.
Yeah, see, I'm going to say WrestleMania, but it might come quicker than that. I love that. I love the Bronson Reed angle. I love that it's the night after SummerSlam. Let's move on to some other shit. Let's take some detours here. Bronson Reed's tenacity in giving the 6 tsunamis and the little angle of Seth Rollins spitting up blood because he's taking this many tsunamis. I mean, when he came back for the third time, the crowd was hot. Cut it out. Stop it, he's already dead. And it made Bronson Reed seem like a pretty big deal in that moment, going back 3 different times and giving him 6 of them. So I was a big fan of that.
Oh man, it was so good because when he first came out, I was like, oh okay. I was like, they're gonna insert Bronson Reed into this this is a main event angle, and I I was like, cool. And I was like, but, we've seen this thing where a guy comes in and, like, beats somebody up. And then, like, he went up and he gave him a couple. I'm like, that was pretty cool. And, like, Bronson looks like a monster. And then, like, I was just like the crowd. I'm like, one more time. And when he went up to that seventh one, I, like, pulled him out of the ring. I was like, oh, so good. So well done. He's like, Bronson Reed's going to be over for a long time after this Seth Rollins program because of how good the thing was.
Yep, I agree.
And this is the reason why Seth Rollins, I think, should flip heel, because once they started chanting one more time, I was like, yeah, see, that's not a good look for the crowd to be saying that. And that's a reason for Seth to be like, you know what, y'all can eat a dick.
You know what? CM Punk's promo was terrible here, too. Just an absolutely dog shit babyface promo. He's going to come out there and be happy that he fucking lost the match. And he's going to say that he's in a good mood and it's good to be alive in whatever fucking city they were in. It's like, come on, man. Like, sell it a little bit. And then he only gets mad again when he sees the fucking bracelet again? Jesus Christ. What the fuck is wrong with him? Seriously. Just dog shit. A dog shit promo by CM Punk. A real good one by Drew McIntyre.
Yeah,
Drew McIntyre is the heel in this thing. Drew McIntyre is the heel that makes sense, and CM Punk is the whiny little baby face that is crying about a bracelet with his dog's name on it. Grow the fuck up.
Yeah, he really comes off like a bitch.
Just such a fucking bitch. Drew McIntyre said, your lovely wife and your ugly dog.
that went in.
Can you imagine getting mad if somebody calls your dog ugly? Like, who gives a fucking shit?
Nah,
I fucking love my
CM
dog.
CM Punk wasn't having that shit.
That's so stupid.
CM Punk was not having that shit.
Damn. Thin-skinned little bitch.
New Day defeats Authors of Pain. Odyssey Jones makes his main roster debut, helping out the New Day. Clearly, your boy Xavier Woods did not look exactly thrilled upon the New Day's latest addition. Time will tell eventually how this works. We talked about JD McDonough and his promo. I thought that was hot. New Day and American Alpha backstage. A-Town Down Under with a rare Raw appearance defeats the Awesome Truth as Truth once again makes the mistake and costs the team the win. I'm just waiting for Miz to flip heel at this point. I mean, I'm not sure what else we're doing with Awesome Truth outside of that. Damian Priest with a nice vignette. Braun Breaker with a nice little promo. I'm waiting. That's another motherfucker. We talked about Gunther before. I'm not sure who's taking the title off Braun Breaker anytime soon. JD McDonough versus Damian Priest ends in a disqualification as Finn and the rest of Judgment Day jump on Damian Priest. I will say this. JD McDonough did a moonsault off the top, but he did something before that to set the shit up. It was one of the sweetest moves I've seen JD McDonough pull off on the main roster. I have to.
He's like,
go ahead.
I feel like his moonsaults are just cheating because his big head just ballasts his body as he rotates in the air.
God damn, you ain't shit.
He's shaped like one of those perpetual motion machines that's on like a dentist desk where the things just hit each other back and forth.
Exactly. It never stops.
Going backwards a little bit, the Odyssey Jones thing with the New Day, this is the first interesting thing that's happened with the New Day. They're 11 years old. This is the most interesting thing to happen to them in 11 years. The fact that there's a little bit of nuance, and Kofi Kingston invited Odyssey Jones to be, he was wearing a New Day shirt. Like, it looks like he was becoming part of the New Day, and Xavier Woods didn't know about it. Xavier Woods sold it really good in the back as being just kind of like, well, that's weird. So at least we're going to have a story with the New Day. The double move that he put on the Pain Authors was pretty cool. He's a big guy, and he was pretty green in NXT, but I do remember him. He stood out a little bit just because he's really big.
Yeah, no shit. I was about to say.
Yeah, I remember him in NXT. He's been up there. He's been up there on the main roster for a while without doing anything.
Yeah,
I guess.
I feel like he got drafted from NXT like last year, like 2023, something like that. Jason, what do you think about Odyssey Jones being in the New Day?
It's the way to flip Xavier Woods if you want to do it and still have a New Day tag team. It's just New Day 2.0.
They could flip Kofi.
They're not flipping Kofi. I would be.
Man, I think it'd be good.
Look, as much as I said Roman Reigns wasn't coming back on Saturday night, I'll stand on business when it comes to Kofi Kingston. Xavier Woods flipping. We see the seeds. Somebody's just got to put some water on it. That's all.
Zach, tell me this was on the Hulu version.
Oh, no. This was on the cutting room floor.
No shit. Man, even the backstage stuff, huh?
As far as like the New Day stuff?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, I thought it was pretty good. And then Ripley and Damian Priest coming out and being like the wronged parties in the Judgment Day breakup. They're going to be. I mean, come on. I mean, they're clicking. They're hot right now. So good on both of them.
They are. I can't wait to see their babyface run as they go along.
They're the biggest babyfaces on the row.
As it stands,
and Jey Uso, I could see that being SummerSlam match. Rhea or like Priest, Jay, Sammy, Rhea versus like Finn, Big Head, Carlito, and Liz.
Yeah, that could be something.
You said Big Head. God damn, that nigga's got a name. It's JD McDonough. Io Sky beats Sonya Deville. You had the Sammy and Jey Uso promo backstage. And then the main event, obviously, American Made versus the Wyatts. I don't know. I know the Wyatts won, but if this is what we're going to see, then this is not enough for me to get invested in the Wyatts. This was my biggest fear come to life, where all we see, at least for me, is my interest is what happens outside of the ring. They don't interest me inside the ring. And for me personally, you're going to have to, get me invested with what they do inside the ring as well. All the vignettes, all the promos, like we said, at least for me, I'll check those boxes. In ring, it's not like we haven't seen Dexter Lumis crawling his knuckles before. He's just doing it with paint now. So, I mean, it's I don't know. I'm not convinced. I'm not satisfied with the whole thing. And they're baby faces. I just don't understand how we went from destroying Gorilla backstage to now getting cheered out in front. It doesn't make sense.
No, I'll actually, I have a different opinion on it. This is like best case scenario for me, because I was worried they were just going to do a bunch of spooky shit, and they were just out there as pro wrestlers, and the crowd was really behind them, and they were baby faces, and like I really liked the match, and the crowd really liked the match, and I was just thrilled that they didn't do any weird spooky stuff. No matter how they dressed.
I gotta say, I mean, this has been a real roller coaster, but at least it was not embarrassing. They just went out there and they were kind of badass wrestlers. I mean, Gacy powerbombing Dexter Lumis through opponents, while it might not make a whole lot of sense, is cool looking. So this was okay. We'll see how it is next week. I'm going to be waiting to see on these guys until they're gone, probably.
Just wait and see. It'll be, they're getting ready like, what they get Hall of Fame speech for the Vintner, and you're like, we'll wait and see if it's any good. I don't know.
Right? Yeah, it's like it was okay. We'll see how they are on Raw 2000 or whatever.
Okay,
but yeah, that's it on WWE.
Yeah, that's that pretty much covers it.
Let's get to that 2 count. 1, 2, 3. 2 beer. What's the 2 count?
2 count. We can run through some AEW. It'd be like that Simpsons meme where it's like, say Rampage was skippable. It was, but the MXM collection versus Private Party was actually a very fun tag match. So I'm actually really glad that I watched Rampage because this is just a really fun tag match, man. Like, I feel like this is like something where if I was like teaching professional wrestling, which I have no credentials to do, like I would be like, here, watch this match. This is how you like wrestle like a fun indie match and get the crowd into it. And it just checked all the boxes.
Yeah, I watched.
Anybody watch it?
Yeah, I watched it after you sang its praises. I was like, yeah, I actually do want to see that. I like MXM, and I hope they put the belts on them soon.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of a fun gimmick. It's a gimmick that I didn't really like in WWE, but I like it in AEW. I know you're being facetious with the belts thing.
I was being facetious, but I mean, I like MXM better than I like the Acclaimed.
I'm probably with you.
I mean, come on.
I don't think they're better. I just like them more right now.
They're funny.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna leave. I gotta leave that alone. Fair enough. I'm not gonna sit here. I just can't. I can't. You guys know better. But fair enough.
Part of saying that is just to rile you up too. It's really like I only kind of like 70% believe it. But Collision opened up with Christian Cage, doing a typical Christian Cage promo, but pretty fun. Where he's super proud of Nick Wayne, his son, and he's got all 3 belts, which is also very Christian Cage. But he gives Nick Wayne a belt, but he does not give Killswitch a belt because he did not do anything to earn it. So he gave it to Mother Wayne because Killswitch did not give birth to a prodigy, and Mother Wayne did. So I don't know if that means that in kayfabe, Mother Wayne is the third person here. It's just it's funny either way. But
she was holding the belt on Dynamite also.
That's amazing.
She was
funny.
They just did this remember they did it for like a year with Christian Cage when he had the TNT title, and he kept it from Killswitch. So I don't know if it's teasing the breakup or if it's just he's just going to do this forever.
What do you think, Jason?
I thought this was, for like 30 seconds, I was mad at myself because I was like, oh, that's cool. Killswitch is going to get his flowers. I was like, man, this motherfucker ain't shit. Killswitch like, man, I'd have choked the shit out your ass right now. So, I mean, it's everything that, it swerved me in the sense that I thought he was going to get his flowers. But then when he didn't, it's the reaction I wanted him to have, man. Fuck this dude, man. I'm ready to choke you, man. How you going to give this woman my motherfucking title and then give this other motherfucker all the props? So, yeah, I'm waiting for the eventual Killswitch, explosion, and he ends up turning on Christian. But no, this was well played. He got my ass. I'll be lying if I said otherwise.
I think it's weird to find out that he has a dinosaur and humiliation fetish. So he's living the dream.
He's a pro wrestler plying his trade. The House of Black and Bang Bang Gang, Kip Sabian is buzzing around this too. So it looks like we're going to get House of Black and Bang Bang Gang for the #1 contendership on Collision. So, Zach, I just started stealing your count. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. You're telling the story. That's the story. And we'll probably end up getting, and like Christian Cage said, he's going to be the special guest referee. So there's probably going to be a mess there. It's probably going to end up being a freeway at Wembley, is what I assume. Get everybody on the big card.
Mm-hmm.
They showed the Ring of Honor 6-man champions here, and Sammy Guevara comes back, so he's going to be in that mix. Seems like a weird place for Sammy, but I don't know what else you do with him, but it seemed weird. What do you think about Dustin Rhodes, and Sammy Guevara, when it's going to be naturally unlikable with the tag team?
Sammy Guevara is a really fun wrestler. So, and Dustin, a Sammy Guevara Dustin Rhodes match, I'd watch that on a Collision. So, if that's where it ends up going, I don't know who Sammy Guevara could pick as two guys to go with him, but I'm sure there's people that are being underused on Ring of Honor that I'm just not thinking of or something like that. But yeah, this is fine.
I could see that, like Sammy being like the head of his own thing instead of being a follower. I like that.
Just weird to see Sammy come back and just come back in this spot. The cynic in me is always waiting for Sammy Guevara to flip heel. I'm just not sure if fans will accept Sammy as a babyface, but time will tell. Hopefully they do, because Sammy's got all the talent in the world. Just he can't connect with fans.
I love
that as a heel.
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah, he connects with things. It's just that people want to. He's just got a punchable face. People just want to do him.
Yep.
Even though he's got a crazy baby face moveset. This is like the Tomohiro Ishii special. Love that we just have this random three-way. I love that Ishii's on every Collision now. Great trades in the G1.
Right.
For Takeshita. So yeah, Claudio, Lee Moriarty, and Ishii, random triple threat, and on Collision. And it was for some stakes, so it wasn't like it didn't have anything going on. This was for a Continental title match against Okada. So I would have liked to have seen any three of these guys versus Okada. So I didn't care who won, but Claudio winning, pretty fun. Claudio versus Okada seems like a pretty big match, and I think that will be very technically sound. And Okada will probably not break a sweat.
If I can't get them to G1, then I'll settle for that.
Yeah, Jason, what's your expectation level for Okada Claudio?
I got expectations. Shit, like I said, to me, this is if we had ever talked about, and I know we said it, Claudio in the G1. If that was ever going to happen in the past, this is a match that I would expect to see, or I would want to see. So I got some expectations for it. Claudio ain't no punk in the ring either now. So I mean, let's not, Okada should win, but this should be a banger of a match, for a lack of a better term.
So this is Wembley, right?
It just said future title match, so
it should be Wembley. It should be. I mean, it's two big names.
I wish that they could make me believe that Claudio has a chance in this. I don't know what to say about Claudio. I know he had the Ring of Honor championship for a long time, or for a little while. It kind of seems like, he was in WWE and now he's over at AEW, and they're going to do something with him. They're going to do with him what we always wanted him to do in WWE. And he's right around the top of the card all the time, and he wrestles a lot, and which I like watching Claudio wrestle, but I don't know. He is not as big of a deal as I would hope that he would be. And maybe it's because he's been in the Blackpool Combat Club for so long, and he is third man. He's the Chris Bosh on that team, and he's got two all-timers ahead of him, on the chart. So I am looking forward to this match, though.
Claudio is just one of those guys he checks literally every box. He's tall, muscular, really good in the ring, and he actually has a lot of charisma. But like whatever it is that takes a guy from having those things to being a megastar, he doesn't have that. And I don't know if it's just like, I don't know what it is, because it's not necessarily just pushes. He gets, he's presented very well in AEW. That ROH title reign. It's just, there are guys that just come off like bigger stars than him, and maybe it's just like a star power thing, but I don't think he's being misused in AEW. He's probably being pretty well cast. I wouldn't put him above guys like Swerve and Ospreay or really any of those. But him contending with those guys is exactly where he should be.
It's an intangible that he just doesn't possess. Like, gotta call it like we see it. He's the shit. And I really do want to watch him versus Okada.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Okada's like, hey, can you just spin me the whole time? But then I just sit back.
We'll do a couple Rainmaker reversals at the end. We'll wrap it up real nice. The last 3 minutes are going to fucking rule.
Mystico and Hologram versus Premier Athletes. That's the kind of stuff you expect to see on AEW. You know, just fun tag match with really good workers. Really no stakes, but getting Hologram over. Hologram's in the ring with legitimately like one of the biggest stars in the world, Mystico. So I really like this match. Really helping to get Hologram over in a different way than he's been presented in the past few weeks.
Jason?
I mean, this was a Zach Party match, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. It's entertaining as such. I'm not convinced that this is getting Hologram over by any stretch. To me, you need to have him be his own entity. Putting him with another luchador doesn't necessarily. It goes back to Bill's theory about this. They all are the same, and Hologram is not being treated differently. They're booked the same way.
Yeah, okay, all right. Like, come on.
They're booked the same way.
You can speak for me sometimes. You know me well enough, but I might have been a little bit more delicate with how I worded it there.
I don't know.
Mystico, like a big deal, though.
I'm not
not just another guy.
In certain circles, yeah. In AEW, I mean, does he stand out more than Hologram? Yeah, maybe. More than Phoenix? Probably not. I mean, he has his hierarchy in this. I don't know. Like I said, for me, Hologram needs to be on his own versus being with someone else, especially another luchador.
I don't know. I just think it's like Mystico is like it's legitimately like the biggest star in Mexico.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I mean, I don't know a lot of people that watch CMLL, and that's kind of part of this problem. Yeah, Mystico has done all these great things, but we need to see those great things translate on to AEW. When he gets to AEW, it's kind of like, it's it's hit or miss whether he wins or loses. He'll have great matches. He'll entertain. Okay, fair enough. Is that going to be enough to get him over?
I say this with as much respect as I can possibly put on it. Mystico is huge in Mexico, and I'm in Missouri.
Damn.
So,
talking like a true Missourian. You got to show me.
You got to show me. What was next?
Learning tree segment. I'm over it. I don't really want to talk about it. Just got a grading. It's about as grading as the voice that he uses.
Hey, learning tree. Hey, learning tree.
Shut up, bitches!
Oh, no. Man, this bandwagon all of a sudden got a little crowded around this motherfucker. Shit. Y'all going to have to stop eating those popcorn and shit. Motherfucker, it's getting tight up in here.
I don't want to talk about the learning tree there, but I will say that Jericho's Hi Guys is just absolutely terrible.
Man, wow. Thank you. Vindication. I feel better. You guys made me feel like a leper about a month and a half ago. Now I feel vindicated. Go ahead.
Well, we'll find another reason to make you feel like a leper here soon enough, I'm sure.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett had a little promo ahead of his match with Danielson. And then Mariah May was in the booth for the next match, the announcement booth. Tony Storm was going to wrestle, but ends up that she just came right out and just charged at Mariah May. So this is a pretty heated feud. I'm really looking forward to this match. Like, they keep it fresh. Tony seems legitimately distraught. She seems super pissed off. they're doing a good job, keeping us interested in this, at least me. I'm looking forward to this. It's one of my most anticipated matches at All In.
It's the longest story they've been telling on AEW television, and it's pretty good. So I'm into it. I don't know who's going to win the match. I was thinking about it the other day while I was cutting grass, and I was like, it could go a couple different ways. Jason.
I'm glad you guys are now, well, at least Bill's at least seeing what I'm seeing. It's still just 50-50 to me.
I mean, you were early on that train, yes. And
I'll just make this an Olympic kind of analogy. Let's go like the horse, where they run up, they hit the ramp, and they do some flip off the horse. Everything's perfect. They just got to land the motherfucking flip. That's all. If they can land this flip, it's going to be one of the best matches they've had all year long. If they don't, then you can scrutinize it any way you want to. But if they land this joker, it's going to be one of the matches of the night at Wembley for sure.
I think the crowd will be really into it. Had Kyle Fletcher versus Brian Cage, which is a fun match to kind of get Fletcher over in preparation for his match with MJF on Wednesday. They had a really good match. Kyle Fletcher is just the future. Dude's 24. He's amazing. And, goes over Cage and Tombstone Pile Driver. A little bit of a promo back and forth with him and MJF. Love that MJF called him a typical foreign invader trying to steal things away from hardworking Americans like himself. He's really playing the all-American heel shit pretty well. Really enjoying it.
I really like this. I like this flag on Dynamite. That was the American flag, but the stars were MJF's faces.
Jesus Christ.
That's good shit. We got a new addition to Top Flight, which is Layla Gray. She's the flight attendant. Seems kind of cheesy, but that's cool. I didn't dislike it. And then
the first thing I thought when I saw her come in and she was like, "I'm the flight attendant," I was like, "Did Shane write this shit?" This is a McMahon ass fucking shit, man.
Oh no! Stop, man! Shane just popped in to say, "What's up, dog?" He kept it moving.
Well, they got interrupted by the Maximum Male Models, which was definitely a Vince gimmick. But yeah, they're gonna wrestle. Should be good. And Thunder Rosa went over Taya Valkyrie. And Deonna Purrazzo comes out afterwards. So we're still doing Deonna Purrazzo and Thunder Rosa. I guess forever and ever. We'll just keep doing it.
No, man.
So they're trying to set a record for the most gimmick matches.
No, we got to end this sometime, man.
They're trying to set a record for the most gimmick matches because now they're having another gimmick match.
Mm-hmm.
And then classic collision main event. FTR is in a longer match with a bunch of other people. This time it's an 8-man. So FTR, Darby Allin, and Mark Briscoe, which is a motley crew of baby faces, versus an even motlier crew of heels, which is Roderick Strong, the Beast Muertos, and Taven and Bennett. So it's like something you just see in the 80s where like, let's just pull 4 guys out of the babyface locker room and 4 guys out of the heel locker room, and we're just going to put on a show with the fans and send them home happy. And that's what they did. I mean, including Dax doing his I Love Professional Wrestling promo that we've seen a million times. So it was like fun house show shit.
Stop.
Jason.
No, this match was fine. It was another Zach Party match. Love Mortos. It's good to see him at least get in the ring and have some success when it comes to the wins and losses portion of the program. He's a talent unto itself. I said it last week. I'm gonna say it again this week. Undisputed Kingdom is fine. It's just missing its head singer, the lead singer, whatever you want to call it. Adam Cole, baby, is the person I'm not patiently waiting for to come back in some form or fashion. If it's not to pay off MJF, to lead Undisputed Kingdom, something, anything. It's just it's not the same without Adam Cole being a part of this. And until he comes back, it's not going to be the same. You know what I'm saying? So, this match was entertaining, but long term, I'm just, like I said, when Adam Cole comes back, if he comes back, then let's talk. Right now, Undisputed Kingdom is a borderline jobber faction.
There is a thing that happens, and I'm not trying to be a snob here, but there's a thing that happens when you're in the middle of the G1 and you're just watching singles match after singles match after singles match that all have stakes in them, and it's a tournament. And the thing that happens when you're in the middle of G1 is that you see Darby Allin and Mark Briscoe and FTR versus the United Kingdom and the Beast Mortos, and you're just kind of like, I don't really feel like watching this. I watch so much fucking wrestling, especially during the G1, and it's just like, I don't know, so I barely paid attention. I paid attention to the part where the Acclaimed came out at the end because, they're trying to tell a story with the Acclaimed and FTR. I'm not sure what story they're trying to tell, that they don't like each other.
FTR, they think FTR is jumping the line because Acclaimed have this title shot in the bag that forever that just hasn't happened yet, which is problematic in itself. And FTR won a title shot, so that's the story.
The FTR feels really stale to me, and the Acclaimed really got defined down by the Bang Bang Scissor Gang, and I just don't take them seriously now. I look at them as a couple of jokes and a couple of guys cosplaying as wrestlers. That's what it looks like to me.
So I think it doesn't help that Max Caster's gimmick is that he's the best wrestler alive, because he's not. He's good.
He's just trying to pop Twitter, man. Like that's just not the way. To me, that's just not the way to do it. And I've said it before. I'll say it again. Anthony Bowman's just running around saying everybody loves the Acclaimed. It's like it's just so fucking. It's annoying, man.
They're going to be doing that when they're as old as Billy Gunn is now.
Stop.
Yes, but they are. They really are.
No, I don't believe that. No, fuck that.
And
we're going to be wheelchairing ourselves into StarCast 2050.
Wow.
And Anthony Mullins is going to be over there with a voice modulator going, "Everybody loves the Acclaimed."
I mean, it's an okay thing to yell with the audience, or when you're cutting a promo in the middle of the ring and saying it to the audience. When you say it to another wrestler, you're just like, why are you screaming this at me, dude?
True. Good point. No, I mean, wrestlers scream, but yeah, I can't say I disagree with that totally.
All right. I'll be right back.
Cool. Dynamite opened with MJF versus Kyle Fletcher, which, as a match, really didn't leave anything to be desired. It was very fun. Both these guys are awesome. MJF has had some fantastic matches lately. Kyle Fletcher is, like I said, he's the future. He's 24 years old. We're really starting to see not just Kyle Fletcher, the guy who's really good in the ring. We're starting to see Kyle Fletcher, the guy, and he has that connection with the crowd. Like, there was a moment in this match where he was like standing in the crowd with like his arms out, and like people really want to like Kyle Fletcher, and he's been really good on the mic. He has that kind of it factor, that intangible that like makes people want to cheer for him. And this match is absolutely killer. A little bit of Don Callis fuckery with the screwdriver, a little bit of more fuckery after the match where MJF lays him out with the Dynamite Diamond ring, beats the shit out of him. Will Ospreay's locked in a room in the back, so he can't get out fast enough to make the save. Of course, he's coming out in a white t-shirt, and Fletcher's busted it open, so gets the blood all over it. Really good visuals. I am into them using Kyle Fletcher as a piece to make this feud hotter. Really, really want to see round 2 at All In. Very much looking forward to this.
Yeah, Kyle Fletcher, I thought, did really well here, obviously, in the spot where it opens the show. So all eyes are going to be on Kyle Fletcher. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Will Ospreay, but he is a disciple of Will Ospreay. So there's nothing wrong with that. MJF, obviously, with another great performance. I don't think that he gets enough credit, if that even makes sense. Obviously, on this podcast, I think he gets tons of credit. I just think other people don't give him the credit that I think he's earned and deserves, especially inside the ring over the last calendar year, give or take. No problem with Kyle Fletcher having to be the guy, the fall guy in this scenario to keep the MJF Will Ospreay feud hot. I don't think you necessarily needed it, but it doesn't hurt that the fact that, you know, you have this, like you said, this visual, and you probably have some sort of visceral reaction of, you know, fuck with MJF. You know, this motherfucker is always one step ahead. He's busting guys open, you know, locking Will Ospreay in the back, throwing titles away. So, I mean, MJF's doing everything he's supposed to do on the heel side. I thought Kyle Fletcher looked good on the flip side. Will Ospreay, you know, playing his role. Everybody did well here. So, I mean, this was a good start to Dynamite.
Yeah, Mariah May beat a jobber and then was presented with a gift afterward. It was a photo of Toni Storm kind of cradling her, kind of a fun, you know, classic photo of them. But on the back, it had Mariah Die written on there, and then Tony comes out and tries to hit her with a shoe, but Aubrey Edwards breaks it up. So I just love that Tony just keeps coming after her, and like I said, into this match.
No, I can't agree with that any more than that. The fact that she missed with the shoe kind of pissed me off a little bit, but I'm glad she did ultimately, because I want to keep them away from each other. They can touch a little bit, but not too much more. I want this, save that shit for Wembley, goddammit.
Yeah, totally. Thank you for the big money match. Darby Allin got a promo on Jack Perry. That'll be a fun match as well. Couple of pillars having a match for a title. Brian Keith wrestled Shibata. This was pretty fun, but ultimately it was less about this and more about the return of Hook. Jericho was about to hit Shibata with the FTW title, and Hook's music hit, and you know, he sent them all running. So you know, all cool, but I mean, we talked about it, like if we just retire the FTW title and just get Hook out of that picture, I think it would be a lot better. But maybe he can win it from Jericho and then put it to rest and put it in the vault and go after something else.
Talk about the
you think they're going to put the FTW title away? You think they're going to put the FTW title away?
I mean, best case scenario.
They need to. Shit.
I just got to say this while I'm thinking about it, but Zack Sabre Jr. and Gabriel Kidd did that thing where they sit in the middle of the ring, Indian style, and they just hit each other. It's like that Shibata thing. And Gabe Kidd, when he did it, he points at the camera. He's like, hey, are you watching Shibata? And then they did it. And then he goes, see, I do that shit better than you do.
Gabe Kidd, boy, that nigga's a treasure.
I like Brian Keith, man. I liked this match. Hook coming back does absolutely nothing for me, though.
Zero. I'm over it.
Renee Paquette was backstage with Orange Cassidy, so there was the hurricane going on, so there was some travel issues. So he had a match against Roosh, Beast Mortos, and Robert Strong, and like the conglomerate could not get there. So basically, he's like, yeah, it's like maybe I could find some local boys, and he asked Renee if she would wrestle for him, and she was like, no. And I just love Renee's really good at her job, and her and Orange they tend to do this a lot. They got pretty good chemistry, and these segments are pretty fun. She also interviewed Adam Page, who is just still mad at Swerve. So we'll see that manifest at some point. But I kind of get the feeling that Adam Page is just backstage talking like that the entire time, and every once in a while they stick a microphone in his face. Like, even when no one's around, he's just fucking yelling about Swerve. Okay. I mean, I'd be mad at Swerve too, man.
Motherfucker eating his blueberries, I'd be mad at the motherfucker too. Shit.
Eating his wife's blueberries.
His wife's blueberries. Nana's eating blueberries. I mean, the man broke into Adam Page's house. Okay, let's just call it for what it is.
making fun of his kids' drawings and cutting a promo over a bassinet.
Okay, there's our
babyface champ.
That's grounds for ass kicking right there.
Swerve's house.
He's in his head, boy.
Any house that he's in, it's his house. So he was just
that's right.
Doing what you do in your own house. Speaking of the devil, he had a sit-down interview with Jim Ross, who was looking rough, but still did really good with this interview. He asked him the questions like, I really like Jim Ross is like, this is like the best use of him in AEW. Is like these like sit-down interviews before big matches. If they just do this every time, yeah, exactly. And Swerve cut a great promo on him. Like, he's like, I don't give a shit about him being a father or a husband. Like, no. Like, and he's like, basically asked, like, what's he going to do when his body gives out on him? And he's like, his legacy belongs to me now. This is a fantastic promo.
I know that Jim Ross was hospitalized recently, so I hope that he's doing well. I didn't know that he still smokes cigarettes. Jesus Christ. But
let that man live.
I know, man, but like, he's a big old dude. Like, you don't see a lot of big old dudes still smoking.
Cancer survivor too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is the best use of him. Jim Ross's interview style is always kind of different because it's more like a conversation. He just sits down and talks to the person. He offers his opinion. And him and Swerve were really good in this. Jim Ross did not look tip top though.
No, he's definitely had some health issues for sure.
Yeah, I love the segment though.
Mm-hmm.
We had another party match, which was Orange Cassidy. He found some partners, and that ended up being FTR. So they come out in jean jackets and aviators. Pretty fun, but yeah, they had a fun match with Beast Mortos, Roosh, and Roderick Strong. And ends up, if you would have been like, hey, book this match, and be like, oh, like Orange Cassidy pins the Beast Mortos. That's not what happened. Roosh took the pin here, so could be that Beast Mortos is really kind of getting himself over on these Saturday night collisions down there, and maybe they're going to do a little something with him. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it.
I don't know.
He's on television a lot. I started making that Beast Mortos joke like a month ago about him wrestling on all three shows, and he really does wrestle on two of the shows pretty much every week.
I mean, to tell you, I was about to say Roosh taking the pin. I was like, oh my. I mean, I like Roosh, but that's not a good signal, at least in my eyes. But go ahead.
And then the Acclaimed come out, and Max Caster's mic won't work. And I don't know if that's a work or a shoot. It's happened often enough where I think it's a work. But it was also awkward enough where it could have been a shoot. It didn't really come off too well.
Not at all.
No, it did not look like a work. But I get worked all the time. So I don't know. Whatever it was, I was happy about it.
Damn.
We had that Christian Cage promo, and then Camille had a 2-on-1 match against a couple jobbers that she made a very short work of, and then Mercedes got in the ring with her 7-inch heels and stood next to Camille. And I noticed it now, and I think about your issue with it, and I gotta admit, I chuckled to myself. I was like, she really is wearing 7-inch fucking heels. Makes her look the same size as Camille. It's interesting. It'd be like if, hologram wore platforms to make them the same size as Braun Strowman.
Stop. That's a hell of a platform, boy. No, I need you to stand up on this shit here.
Hey, so all that Britt Baker stuff that came out, that happened after the last show, right? Our last podcast?
Yes.
Like the news story broke?
Yeah.
Yeah, the incident happened a few weeks ago, but yeah, I think it came out after.
I mean, that really feels like a year ago that you sent that text showing that shit. Yeah, there's some backstage chatter that Britt Baker is not a very likable person, and I don't know what happened, who she cheated on Adam Cole with in a shoot. I don't really care, but she didn't really come across as a baby face in this promo. It was not. Maybe it's just because my judgment was being colored by the knowledge that I had, but man, this feud feels kind of dead.
I'm not this segment did not do anything. I thought I was like big on this whenever she originally came out. I think this segment didn't really do anything, like keeping them separate.
Right.
Physically makes sense, but like, yeah, Britt she did not have like this big baby face, like fiery thing that she just really didn't come off super hot here. It was not a good segment.
No, what do you think, Jason?
No, I agree. I'm still looking forward to the match, but I will say this: it's not dead, but it definitely has kind of at least plateaued, if not topped off, whatever word you want to use in the sentence. So in that scenario, it is a little concerning. It's a few weeks before the actual match itself, but I'm still interested. It's just we're gonna have to wait and see what happens next. Physicality is the next step.
I mean, we can all agree that the best thing that Sasha Banks does is wrestle. I mean, her strengths are not on the mic. She's a great heel wrestler. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the match.
Wrestle and dance.
Also because I don't know who's going to
win. Yeah. I mean, it's a big match, and once Britt's back in there in the ring together, it'll feel bigger and feel better again.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
What's that?
And then, so that is not all in because it's next week on Dynamite with Okada and Claudio, so it's a fun Dynamite match. And
next
was the main event, which was Jeff Jarrett and Bryan Danielson. Long main event. A lot of smoke and mirrors. They wrestled all over the building here. Some blood. Pretty fun, but like it was a lot. Like it was like kind of just something you could just tell both guys like wanted to do, and so they did it. And
it was one for them. It was not for us. It was one for them.
Yeah, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was out there for some reason, and Swerve came out and cut a really good promo at the end though. So he's gonna wrestle Wheeler Yuta next week on Dynamite, as he called it his warm up match. And I did like Wheeler Yuta. He like said like off mic, you could tell he's like I'm not your warm up match. Like I was like, oh,
that was really good. That was really good.
Brother,
that's
pop
like
it
the
off at the
hardest
mouth.
he's ever seen. Yeah, I mean, Swerve's about to get forged in combat.
I agree with Zach. This was a little long for my taste, but I mean, it kind of got the point in. Danielson's really willing to do whatever he needs to do, so fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, can we be real though? Like, this is probably the worst AEW Danielson match.
Okay, fair.
I mean, it's tough to grade.
A concession stand brawl? Yeah, it is. I can grade it as not very watchable though.
Sure.
But I mean, that's really just saying that Danielson only has great matches though.
That's kind of my point.
Like he's fucking awesome in everything. Like this is fine for what it was, but Danielson is, one of the best wrestlers that's ever lived.
There you go.
So his matches are usually pretty good usually.
Yeah, no doubt. Just wish he would get to the G1, but probably not going to happen.
No, man, what could have been? What a real sliding doors moment.
Well, that's AEW.
But I did like Swerve's promo afterwards, and this match is gonna fucking rule.
Yeah, buddy. That's a match I don't know who's gonna win.
What's going to be a better match, Swerve, Daniel Bryan, or MJF Ospreay?
It's tough, man, because The MJF Ospreay match was.
I'm not betting against Will Ospreay when it comes to great matches. I'm not. You're just gonna have to show me somebody that can do it better on the night to night basis. Swerve and Danielson can do it.
I agree.
I just won't bet against Will Ospreay. Not right now.
I think that's the correct answer. Is that MJF is fucking great also, and Will Ospreay is the best in the world. I mean,
I do think any combination of those four guys could be equally great, though. They're all, you could put any of them.
I agree with that, but I would bet on Ospreay having the best match with all of them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just smart.
He basically has. I mean, he's got the two best matches of the year in him versus Bryan and him versus Swerve. Like, aren't those the two best matches of the year?
Arguably.
I'd say so. And then
okay. Yeah, I mean, well, he's got that too, and it's only fucking August, right?
It's only August.
So, all right. That is going to do it for our 2 count. Let's get to that 3 count. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you guys like the way that we've been structuring the conversations about the G1, the way that I'm going through the block and just going down? Is that cool with everybody?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys haven't watched the recent one, but the most recent one, but we are going to talk about points here. So you guys have given me the okay for spoilers. But sitting atop block A, we have Zack Sabre Jr. with 12 points. He has clinched the number 1 spot in the block. So since we've last spoke, he lost to Shingo, he beat Evil, and he beat Gabe Kidd last night in a match that you guys are going to love. But what do you think about Zack Sabre Jr. sitting at the top, Jason?
The hiccup against Shingo aside, this is basically where I thought he would be. It'd be nice just for, talk purposes that if he ran the table and would have been undefeated, kind of like Evil was. But I don't have a problem with this. Zack Sabre Jr. deserves to at least advance to the quarterfinals, being the number 1 seed in the A block. It shouldn't be a surprise. At least it's not a surprise to me. So, yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. is right where I expect him to be going forward.
Totally.
Go ahead, Zach. Zach, any thoughts on any of those matches? ZSJ versus Evil and versus Shingo.
Thankfully, the Evil one was very quick.
Mm-hmm.
The Shingo one was very fun. Those guys are both really great. Definitely lived up to expectations.
Him and Kidd kind of have a match that resembles the Damian Priest Gunther match. It is probably not the match that you're expecting, but it is really fun, and they are some shit talking motherfuckers.
Oh, yeah, the two of them.
Yeah, it is. It's something. So we have Evil with 10. Evil lost to Great O'Khan. Evil lost to Zack Sabre Jr. and Evil lost to Shingo in a complete fucking 25-minute shit show at the end of last night. So Zach, what do you think about Evil sitting at 10?
No, man, just thankful. Thankful that he's on the
That nigga said one word.
I thought you were like, just thankful he's in the mix, man. That's my dog.
Yeah, right.
Evil.
Shit. After running the first 5 in a row, I expect him to at least drop 1, but to drop 3 in a row has at least, made the A block a little more congested than I would have thought going into this week or whatever the case may be. I would just assume that Evil was going to clinch the number 1 spot, and obviously that's not the case. I'm not holding my breath that he misses the playoffs. Somehow, some way, he's going to win one of these next 2 or 3 matches. I think it's 3 matches left. He'll win one of these 3 and he'll advance. So I'm not confident that he'll miss it, but him losing 3 in a row, I'm
pretty sure he only has 1 match. I'm pretty sure he only has 1 match left. But anyway, coming up next, we have Tetsuya Naito with 10 points. Oh, by the way, I love Zack Sabre Jr. just rolling him up. And Evil's face after he got rolled up was really some pro stuff. I mean, some old school wrestling, like pure shock. I thought it was pretty fun, actually. Naito's sitting at 10 points. He beat Gabe Kidd and he beat Shota. And then last night he beat Callum Newman. So he is sitting at 10 points. JCB, how about your boy?
Yeah, how about him? Fucker. He's going to advance when he has no business advancing. I mean, now we're using the small package roll up like we did a couple of G1s ago when that was his move, and all of a sudden the Destino was out the window and he's rolling guys up. I don't need, like I said, I don't even want him to advance. It's a damn shame that he's now the champion, and this is how we're going to have to book him just to get, where we need to be. I'm not expecting him to win this thing. Hell, like I said, I'm not even sure he makes it to the quarters or not. But just his matches have just not been good. Let's just call it for what it is. He's only got so much gas left, and the next gas station is far, far away. No eyes there.
Zach, what do you think?
I think it was David Finley on commentary cracking up where he was just like, yeah, Naito's got that googly eye. And Walker was like, yeah, he's got like a degenerative, like, ocular disease, it causes his eyelid to droop, and he's eventually going to lose sight, and then he's going to be blind. And Finley's just like, oh, is that the technical term for googly eye? Yeah, that has got a googly eye.
That nigga is, yeah, that was fucked up, dog. I was like, man, hold up. How you talking about my boy, dog?
So my pre G1 predictions for this block were Sabre, Naito, and Shota. Shota's not going to make it, but my argument for Naito is that it sounds impossible for the last year's winner to not make and he still might not do it. I haven't looked at all the scenarios, but Sonata in the mix with 8 points. That's your former world champion. He beat Shota, which everybody does. He beat Shingo in what was really a really good match.
That was a really good match.
Got to give credit where it's due. That was a lot of fun. And then last night he lost to the Great O'Khan. So Sonata with 8 points. Zach, where you at?
Yeah, Sonata has been fine in this match. In this tournament, pretty similar to how he really was before, like championship and stuff. Like, his look is different, but he did well in this tournament before. Was it? I thought I heard Chris Charlton say that the Sonata Shingo match, that was the first time they'd ever wrestled.
I don't remember him saying that, but that match stood out on that night. That match was really fucking good. The best Sonata match in a long time.
I agree with that.
The best Sonata match of the tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, no question about it. Just because they're both were LIJ guys, I would tend to agree with Chris Charlton, especially when Sonata had the championship. We were saying, speculating about him having to run through LIJ at certain points. Never happened with him and Shingo. So if Chris Charlton says it, I'm willing to lean towards that and believe it.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at cage match, and yeah.
Okay, there you go. So
Jake Lee next with 8 points. Jake Lee is on a winning streak, so congratulations to Zach, his number one dude. He beat Callum Newman, he beat Gabe Kidd, and he beat Shota last night. So, Jason, where you at on Jake Lee?
The numbers are there. I'm not sure how everybody likes his matches. The two that I've seen were pretty good. I like the Gabe Kidd match a little more. I just think Gabe Kidd is just a freaking superstar, and that's just all it is to it. And he kind of raised Jake Lee up to where he had to match the Gabe Kidd intensity. Shota taking the L against Jake Lee might be more about Shota than it is about Jake Lee. But ultimately, as a fan of Jake Lee, I'm glad to see him being booked stronger than he had at the start of this tournament. G1s are about runs. Jake Lee's on a good run right now.
Zach, admit that you've been the whole time, and admit that Jake Lee is top 4 greatest living wrestlers.
I will only go as far as I enjoyed the Gabe Kidd match.
Yeah, I did too. But like Jason says, Gabe Kidd is that dude. I don't have a whole lot to say about Jake Lee that I didn't say at the beginning. He hasn't gotten any better or any worse than from my very first impression. He's really good at mannerisms, and he carries himself like a big-time star. His matches are not particularly fun to watch, though. Shingo Takagi up next with 8 points. He beat Zack Sabre Jr. in the aforementioned win. That match fucking ruled. He lost to Sonata in a match that ruled, and then he beat Evil last night in a match that was absolutely atrocious. Not Shingo's fault. It's sets a new level for House of Torture fuckery. Yikes. It is offensive. It was offensive to me as a fan of professional wrestling. But those first two matches I mentioned, the Zack Sabre Jr. and Sonata match, we've talked about. But Shingo, solidly, I mean, he is a G1 performer. Don't you think, Jason?
No question. I'm once again glad to see Shingo at least being booked a little more consistently than he has in the past. Fingers crossed, man. I really want him to get to the quarterfinals. I'm not expecting him to, do any damage at that point. I still say ZSJ is the likely favorite to win this whole thing. But I've always said, Shingo's kind of one of those pandemic champions that we tend to forget about, unfortunately. And it's long overdue that he gets a little more flowers, a little more love post that pandemic. So, yeah, I'm excited to see where Shingo goes going forward.
Zach, can you see Shingo slipping into the quarters?
Absolutely. Just because, he really is a guy that you can just rely on. And he always does really good with tournaments. Also, Shingo is, especially, just with Naito, just really kind of suffering here. It's just tough because Naito's their most popular wrestler and he's like their biggest merch seller. But if you're going to have the title not on a new guy, and it was somebody in LAJ, I really feel like it probably would have been more beneficial to be having it on Shingo these days. But, that's just my opinion.
Speaking of guys that are in the mix, we have the Great Khan, who has also won his last three matches, just like Jake Lee. The Great Khan beat Evil. He beat Callum Newman, and he beat Sonata last night. So the Great Khan making a little run here with 8 points. Zach, what do you think?
He's been fun to watch. This tournament hasn't changed my opinion on Great Khan. It's been,
1 week
more.
I like
Great Khan. Yeah.
What did you say?
Every time he says he always says it's been and then takes a breath, and I always feel like going, it's been 1 week since you looked at me. The Great Khan has quietly had a decent tournament. His matches are getting better as the tournament goes on. So, that's what I'll say. Even though the one with Sonata was a fucking snooze fest. Gabe Kidd, that dude, up next with 6 points. He lost to Naito, he lost to Jake Lee, and last night he lost to Zack Sabre Jr. He is still putting on a fucking show, and I want to say that him on Walker started talking about Shinsuke Nakamura, and he's like, why the fuck are you talking about WWE wrestlers, man? He's like, he stayed up till 4 o'clock to watch SummerSlam, didn't you? You fucking little... It was so fucking good, dude.
He went in, boy.
Gabe Kidd having a tremendous tournament. What do you think, Jason?
Yeah, him and Takeshita are my two MVPs of the tournament. I don't care, about points or whatever the case may be. Their matches have had me invested the most for various reasons, whether it's Gabe Kidd just talking shit or Takeshita's just ridiculous athleticism. Gabe Kidd is going to be a superstar in New Japan as long as they just do right by him, book him strong, and don't let him leave to AEW or any place else. He'll be just fine.
Zach.
Yeah, he's one of the most fun guys to watch every time he's on, whether he's talking or wrestling. And he has like a similar shtick. His matches are different than other people's because he does a lot of the brawling and does a lot of the outside the ring stuff, but it really doesn't get old, even though he does it in a lot of his matches. it keeps it pretty entertaining.
Shota Umino coming up next with 6 points. Shota lost to Sonata, Shota lost to Naito, and Shota lost to Jake Lee. It looks like Shota's tournament is over. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, kind of a bummer showing for one of really their up-and-coming stars here. He's looked better elsewhere in New Japan. Tough tournament for Shota.
Jason?
Hard luck losses for Shota. Yeah, that would kind of think that he's probably going to be on the outside looking in. Too many losses to guys that are ahead of him, and that's going to be the biggest problem. But disappointing, but it's not his fault. I mean, if he's truly hurt, then that's got to be part of this equation.
Callum Newman bringing up the rear with 4 points. We said he was going to eat pins, and eat pins he has. He lost to Jake Lee, he lost to Great O'Khan, and he lost to Naito. So Callum Newman, a very young guy. His tournament seems to have gotten better as it goes along. You know, all of his matches are around 10 or 11 minutes or something like that. You know, he's learning on the job, but that's their right to do, and he's the right guy to do it with. What do you think, Jason?
No, I was going to say Kyle Newman has got the wins that he needed to win. Shingo being one of the biggest, and outside of that, you know, somebody's got to take some L's, and him and Bolton Oleg, unfortunately, are those two guys. But I think ultimately the experience of being in G1s, seeing Kyle Newman getting through a G1 and not coming out too worse for wear, I think is, you know, things to look forward to for next year if he's in it again. So if you don't have Ishii, then, you know, you want to have guys that you can start kind of build around. You know, Kyle Newman is one of those guys. So, yeah, good on him.
Zach, what do you think?
Yeah, we'll see a lot more from Kyle Newman. He's looked really good in this tournament. And he was never going to, like, have a bunch of wins.
Block B, sitting atop Block B on his own with 10 points. We have Jeff Cobb, who beat Hanare and who beat in what, you know, a sneakily fantastic match with Bolton Oleg, or Oleg Bolton. What do you think about Jeff Cobb sitting atop, Jason?
About damn time. Shit. I mean, it feels like, I keep saying, it feels so long that him and Okada were basically, you know, trading off wins to the same block before Okada ultimately beat Jeff Cobb. Good to see Jeff Cobb been pushed strong. I like the Hanare match, especially where it was, you know, two United Empire guys that don't ever really get a chance to wrestle, but got a chance to wrestle, and I thought that was really, really good. Him calling out to Bolton Oleg for using his, like, gut-twisting suplex move. I thought that was really good. Jeff Cobb been pushed strong. It's been long overdue, but it's good to see. Fingers crossed he should be advancing at this point, not unless he slips on the banana peel, which could happen. It is the G1, but he looks in a good spot so far.
Zach?
I loved both of these matches. Funny, it's about time, and it seems not that long ago that I remember watching Jeff Cobb wrestle in the same VFW that I booked for my wedding reception for $350. I actually tweeted at him after that show, and I was like, "Oh, Jeff Cobb is the best thing on this show," and he liked my tweet. And I was like, cool. That was the first time I'd ever seen him. And then, now he's like G1 possible winner here. Really cool. But yeah, both these matches were awesome. Super fun.
Mega fun. You know, Jason was talking about MVPs. I think that some MVP votes got to go to Hiroki Goto, who's sitting with 8 points. Hiroki Goto had a fucking banger of a match with Konosuke Takeshita in which he won, and then he beat David Finlay in another really great match the other night. So Goto with 8 points. Zach?
Yeah, two really great matches. Goto is like one of my favorite, like, New Japan wrestlers. He's just that guy who's gonna quietly deliver. And you know, I think I mentioned it last week. Like, I could, like, he's just like Daniel Bryan, where, like, he will always wrestle and always, like, deliver a good match, different style, but, like, he's just gonna, you know, it's like he's in that Yuji Nagata role, you know, these days in G1, because all those older guys are out, you know, like Nagata, Suzuki, Tanahashi. You know, he's kind of the elder statesman of the group, and he's kicking ass. and showing motherfuckers how it's done. Great.
Jason.
No, Goto has been a surprise. Slow start, but he's picked up the pace. I'm not going to say that he's not an MVP, but I mean, Goto always steps up in tournament matches. David Finlay, and he was supposed to have the New Japan match. David Finlay got hurt, so this was a nice little makeup for that. But this is not a huge surprise that Goto is doing well. You know, this is just what he does. You know, whether it's New Japan Cup or G1, when tournament time comes around, Goto is usually in the mix, and he's right there again, second place with 8. So it'll be curious to see how he plays off.
Former G1 winner, and you know, it's a good point that Zach made about him being kind of the elder guy, because he does seem to wrestle in that style of New Japan that I initially fell in love with, in which, like, you know, they really put a lot into like the last 5 minutes and like really pick up the heart rate, and just all of his matches are so exciting, and he could win at any time and he could lose at any time. It's something that makes the G1 a lot of fun. The match versus Takeshita was an all-timer and one of the best matches of the tournament. Yota Tsuji up next with 8 points. Yota Tsuji beat Ren Narita, and he beat Hanare in a fun match. Zach, where are you at on Yota Tsuji?
Yeah, he's had a good showing, and kind of where I expected. It's maybe a little low at the moment, but really good matches, which is what we expected. And, you know, he could come strong at the end. I haven't looked to see who he has left to wrestle, but I kind of expect Fuji in the quarterfinals. So,
Jason, you feel the same?
No, I'm gonna still stick to it. Somebody we like is going to miss the quarterfinals. I mean, it's just, you know, it is what it is. My guess is it's Yota Tsuji. The winner of the New Japan Cup is not necessarily doesn't have to go advance to the G1 quarterfinals. If there's somebody that could miss it and it wouldn't hurt them that much, it's Yota Tsuji. But all that being said, his matches have been good. You know, you see him getting more and more comfortable in the ring, and that's a good sign. So, you know, his future is bright, and we've already talked about a high ceiling. I'm just not convinced that he advances to the corners.
He's got Cobb and Yuya left.
Definitely not convinced.
Up next, we have David Finlay. David Finlay with 8 points. David Finlay lost to Goto in the aforementioned match, and he beat Oleg Bolden in the curtain jerker in the first G1 match a few nights ago. What do you think about David Finlay sitting at 8, Jason?
This is my guy. I have winning the B block side, so he's in a good spot. His matches have been okay. I mean, nothing great. I think this is more about what's going to happen post G1 for David Finlay than what happens in the G1. But his match has been okay. Nothing great, nothing bad, just kind of in the gray.
Zach.
Yeah, his matches have been good. I'm happy that there's a whole bunch of Bullet Club fuckery.
When I try to picture David Finlay in my head, I picture Heath Slater all the time. Stop. And it makes me think, man, it'd be cool if Heath Slater was the leader of the Bullet Club.
You ain't shit.
Ren Narita's got 8 points.
Like all of the people interfering, just all of his kids.
Right. Say, Dad tried to get paid.
Ren Narita lost to Tsuji, and he beat Yuya Uemura in just a travesty. Zach, what do you think?
Yeah, there'll be better There have been and there will be better Uemura and Ren Narita matches. Uemura is that guy that I feel like he's the guy that won't make it but should. That's how I feel, kind of how Jason feels about Yota Tsuji, at least as far as odds or chances. I feel like Uemura should be in the running because he is that rising star, but it's just this year will just not be his year.
Jason?
You know, I can't say I totally disagree with that. I'm gonna be patient on his rise, so to speak. Uemura is gonna be fine. I'm not going to worry about him too much. Ren Narita is just, you know, he's under the House of Torture booking. So it's either you like it or you don't. For me, it's hard to swallow him being so talented and just getting booked like the same over and over and over again. So in that scenario, it's hard for me to swallow, but you see the talent is just, goddamn, fuck. Just win a match clean. One match clean.
Can we talk about Konosuke Takeshita sitting with 8 points, and can we talk about that ELP match? Did I build it up too much for you guys?
Nope.
I thought it was
not at all
awesome.
It was the best match of the tournament.
That's what I think too. I haven't heard anybody. I guess I haven't listened to any podcasts that talk about that one. But what do you think, Jason?
Like I said, he's to me the MVP of the tournament. I cannot name a bad Takeshita match that he's had up to this point. Even with Evil, I thought he and Evil had a really good match. So in that scenario, it's just I want more for him. I want him to come back to AEW and be the alpha that we see right here. Neither here nor there. This is the guy that I think should go to the quarterfinals. And at that point, if he loses in the quarters, so be it. But yeah, I'm not ready to give up Takeshita just yet. I want to squeeze all the matches we can get out of him in this G1.
What do you think about the ELP match?
I thought it was amazing. I mean, it was the first time where ELP looked like the ELP we thought he was going to be like a year, 2 years ago when he was getting ready to make the move up to heavyweight, and we saw all the talent, all the athleticism. We were like, oh yeah, he could be, doing some damage in the heavyweight division. And then, he got sidetracked with this tag team shit. And now this match feels like, okay, now this is the ELP I've been waiting to see all tournament long.
Takeshita has Narita and Oleg Boltin left. Those are two matches that, I mean, of course it's the G1, anything could happen, but I mean,
he should win one of the two.
Beating both of those. He should win both of them.
He should, but he'll win one.
I think he's going to win both. We have Hanare with 6. Hanare lost to Jeff Cobb, and Hanare lost to Yota Tsuji. This is kind of the part where they start setting up the next challenger for Hanare. So him taking losses is going to set up challengers for that never open weight title. What do you think about Hanare's tournament, Jason?
No, it's not going to win, but he's looked strong in spots where he needs to look strong. So his title reign should improve in this. Like you said, these losses will give him some challengers going forward, and at that point, we'll see how he looks from there. But no, this is maybe a little about 6-8 points is where I kind of guess Hanare would be. This is about a good spot. I would love to see him win a couple more, get to 10. But if he doesn't, this has not been a bad tournament for Hanare at all.
Where you at, Zach?
Yeah, same. He's got that number belt, make some losses, set up some title opportunities. He's kind of like a guy who's going to deliver good matches. I didn't expect him to have like a great showing points wise. It's a tough tournament. In kayfabe, it's the most difficult thing these guys do all year. So even kind of just having a 6-8 points is pretty good.
Hanare's had better than expected tournament in my mind, and I had pretty high expectations. The matches have been good. Yuya Uemura has fallen back to the pack. He lost to Narita, and he lost to ELP. He got 6 points. What do you think about his tournament, Zach?
Yeah, again, I'd expect him to have a ton of points, but he has a good showing. I got to wait for his hair to grow back for him to win that briefcase.
What do you think, Jason?
Hot start, cool finish. Poor guy's on a block of ice right now. I was hoping that he would get into the quarters and then, you kind of see what happens. But I don't know if that's happening or not at this point. We'll see. Good matches, though.
Gun to my head. If you just grabbed me out of the street and said, is his name Bolton Oleg or Oleg Bolton? I would have to completely guess because I always forget which one it is. I think it's Oleg Bolton.
No, it's the opposite.
On Wikipedia it says Oleg Bolton.
On
but I think it is Boltin Oleg,
yeah,
right?
on New Japan, they say Boltin Oleg. When his name comes up, the graphic says Boltin Oleg. I'm going that route.
Anyway, I really enjoy Boltin Oleg's matches, and I look forward to them. This B block has been a shit ton of fun. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, his matches are different and they're fun. He's a big powerhouse guy, and he's really been kind of a standout. I think this has been kind of a star-making tournament for him.
What do you think, Jason?
Zack Sabre Jr. called him a future world champion. That's all I need to hear.
That's wild. I didn't hear that. ELP tied for last with Boltin Oleg, or Oleg Boltin, with 4 points. But that match against Takeshita it's one of those G1 matches that you probably don't have circled. You're probably like, that'll probably be pretty good. And then those guys went out there and tore the house down.
Instant classic.
People have been down on ELP. People are wrong. He's had a really good work rate average in this tournament. I think that he's been fucking great, and I love ELP.
Hate the angle, but love.
Yeah, he's been great for years.
What'd you say, Zach?
Go ahead, Jason.
I said I hate this angle of him being heartbroken, but all his matches have been good.
Yeah, what do you think, Zach?
Yeah. I just said he's been great for years. I think he suffered, for a while because he was a heel and he's got more of a babyface moveset, and people want to cheer him, but it's hard to cheer him when he's doing like the back rakes and like the cock knocker stuff. So he's a great babyface, as evident in that Takeshita match. Holy jeez,
that Takeshita match was fucking awesome. That's gonna do it. So we're a lot of intrigue left. The Block A only has one match left apiece, I think, and Block B has two matches left. So by the time we talk next week, we will know who's in the finals.
Oh, geez.
No. We'll know who's in the semifinals.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll know who's in the semifinals.
Okay, that sounds a little more realistic. I'm like, damn, that's a lot of fucking matches. Shit.
Yeah, I know. So that's gonna do it for our 3 count. 1, 2, 3. You guys see Pete Dunne go over Trick Williams clean?
I heard that shit. I'm surprised. Legit.
Zach, did you see that?
I forgot to watch NXT because of the G1. I would have watched it, but too much G1.
Well, the only thing that happened on NXT was Pete Dunne went over Trick Williams clean, and then Trick Williams attacked him backstage.
Ooh.
And Joe Hendry and Joe Coffey had a match that was pretty okay. And then Wes Lee turned heel at the end on the other two rascals after MSK lost to Nathan Frazier and Axiom beat them for the titles. What'd you say, Jason?
Hell no, dog. That's wild as fuck. Did not see that coming.
Yeah, Wes Lee turned heel.
Okay.
Yeah, his buddy from MSK. I forget his buddy's name from MSK, but he was like crying.
Zachary Wentz?
It was a pretty dramatic heel turn.
Damn. Okay, I gotta watch that shit.
But that's really it. Unless there's anything else I'm forgetting.
No, you covered it, brother.
All right, so we got some birthdays this week. Sable, Mrs. Brock Lesnar is 57. Shayna Baszler is 44. She's my age. Silas Young is 44. He's my age.
Wow.
Well, that's real man. Alexa Bliss is 33. Tugboat / Typhoon. Thinking he's no longer with us. He would have been 68. Savio Vega, 60. Wade Barrett is my age at 44. Hulk Hogan is 71. Terry Taylor. Jason?
Definitely alive. Red Rooster in the house.
Yeah, he is 69. Happy birthday. I knew you were alive, Terry. Spike Dudley is 54. Bob Backlund. I fucking love Bob Backlund. 75. Kofi Kingston is 43. And Johnny Gargano is 37. Hey, everybody. We know there's some podcasts to listen to, so we appreciate you guys listening to our podcast. For Jinder Mahal, for
Check.
Lucha, the Lucha Man, for Murray, the Murray Man Murray,
Check.
for Lucha Chris,
Check.
for Patriot Pat,
Check.
for Brett Jagger,
Check.
for Vice,
Check.
for Three Beers, Zach Coleman, for
Check.
Jason Cornelius Bell, I am
Drop
Bill
bitches.
Miggy,
Check.
Black Lives Matter,
Check.
support your local weed dealers, support
Check.
your local restaurants,
Check.
give your parents a call,
Double
free fucking Palestine,
Check.
and never ever forget you gotta move the heels.
Boo!
Shut up, bitches.
Thanks, Okada.